To all who listen to this happy pod, welcome. My name is Noah Parker, and this is my world of wonder. And today, you'll notice we have a little bit of a different setup today. We have Mom back on the podcast, but she is remote in Florida, good old Florida. She is our resident Disney pass holder, thankfully, so she can go to Disney, and I can live vicariously through her.
Yes.
From 1,800 miles away. I don't get to go to the parks very often, so
it's only 1,461 miles, honey.
Oh yeah, let me just hop on the bicycle and head down. There are plans in the works to, well, we will be coming down at some point for a Disney trip.
Okay.
But I'm trying to get things to work out where I can come down for a weekend or something.
Oh,
but
fun.
Nothing set in stone there. Everything's still just, hopefully.
Right.
So we will get there when we get there. But as the resident pass holder and Disney goer for the podcast, she actually just went, was that 2 days ago?
Saturday, yeah.
Saturday, yeah.
So we're filming on Monday, the 22nd.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So she was just there on Saturday. She was in EPCOT to check out the new World Celebration that just opened. Mm-hmm. Finally, after 4 years almost of being behind walls.
Yeah. It's been a long time.
And then also the Festival of the Arts. But before we jump into that, I guess I don't know. I just wanted to see how are you doing?
Doing good. We had some changes. Dad used to drive a school bus, and now he is over the road trucker. So he did that before, but he's back at it. So yeah.
Does he seem to be enjoying it more than driving the bus? Is it more rewarding for him?
It is, because it's just him that he has to worry about. We talked about that before, and it's just him he has to worry about. It's not like he has to worry about 50 to 70 kids as well. Right. So
that's totally fair.
Yeah. I mean, it's weird because he goes to bed. He's already in bed at 7 o'clock at night sometimes. And then he gets up at 3 o'clock in the morning.
A good time to be on the road, I guess.
Yeah. I'm I'm not gonna get up with you. Okay. I'm going to be in bed still.
Right. There you go. And then you have a birthday coming up in a month's time from right now, actually.
It is. Yes. A month from today.
And you'll be 37?
Ish.
Again?
Ish.
Somewhere in that ballpark.
Yes. It's 37-ish.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll, And we're going to see... it was supposed to be a birthday trip. So I'm a twin. For those who may or may not know, I'm a twin, and I'm the much younger twin by 11 minutes.
Oh.
11. And so we were supposed to have a birthday trip to Hawaii for our 50th birthday. And that was in 2020, and we all know what happened then. So we don't talk about Bruno. Right, we don't talk about Bruno. And this is that birthday. We're hoping to get some Disney footage. We'll see.
Hopefully.
I don't know if that's going to happen. My twin sister and I are not the ones who are driving or in charge of any of this. We're just we're just there for the fun. And so if we get to do that, then we will. And if we don't, then it's, you know what, Noah, then you and Adriana and Dad and I will just have to make the sacrifice and go back and do research ourselves.
I'm saying I've got my third anniversary coming up. You're on your, I can't even do that math that fast.
34th.
34th.
Yeah.
35th next year.
Yes, 2025. Yes.
I mean, we'll see how things go, but maybe that's what happens. Mm-hmm. So, anyway,
or a Disney cruise. I mean, we're not going to be
Los Dos. What if we took a Disney cruise to Alani?
I don't think it goes over there.
I need to make a lot more money. I think you can. Well, I'm sure there's at least one cruise ship that goes to Hawaii.
You think?
I think so. I don't know. I'll look into it. The only cruises I've really looked into are the ones that go to Castaway Key.
Yes, same.
Is that what it's called? Why didn't that sound
Yeah,
wrong when
it's
I said
Castaway Key. Yep.
Okay.
That's what it is.
I think I said it and my brain went straight to the movie, and I'm like, that movie has nothing to do with it.
No.
But yeah.
It's
All
just
right.
similarly titled.
Yeah. So, on to business, I would say.
Yeah.
Walcott, as we have, is the word begrudgingly referred to EPCOT as for the last 4 years.
Yeah, it's true.
For the most part, is gone and is now EPCOT again. For the most part,
it's weird because yes, for the most part, most of the walls are gone. There's a part where you used to come in, like from the buses. If you stay on property, you would come in from the buses and you would go off to the right, and it took you like right in by Coral Reef and Finding Nemo, or The Seas with Nemo and Friends rather. And they actually put walls up there now.
Oh, that's super lame. So there's more walls.
There's more walls. There's still fewer walls than there had been, because there was that huge area behind Spaceship Earth that encompassed the back end all the way around to where Communicore Hall and Plaza are going to be, and which was the former. Dad and I had some discussion about this. I think it's the former location of the Fountain of the Nations, but Dad disagrees. But I think that's all in that area, and but it was this huge wall, and for the longest time too, because of Journey of Water inspired by Moana, that area was also shut off. So there was all kinds of walls all the time, and it was just not pretty and not fun. It took forever to walk around. At least now you can walk like from Mission Space ish through the walkway that is between Creation Shop and Connections Eatery and Cafe. And then you walk into the new area, which is called Celebration Plaza, which is an amazingly beautiful place. And then you can walk more or less straight on ish to the land ish. So
Okay.
that's nice. They do still have Communicore Hall and Plaza that they're working on, but for the most part, the only walls are Communicore Hall and Plaza, and then for some reason, over by the Seas with Nemo and Friends, there's more walls up over there. I'm not sure what they're doing. It might just be a little refurbishment.
Yeah, it could just be landscaping stuff. Who
We
knows?
We didn't take the monorail over there, so we're not really sure what happened. But
See, that's what we got to do.
I know that's like aerial reconnaissance, right?
Yeah, that's the best part about EPCOT, having the monorail go right over you. Just like the People Mover when they were building Tron Light Cycle Run.
Yes.
Beautiful vantage point. You could see a lot of stuff going on.
Yes, exactly.
So that's really cool.
Yeah, yeah.
So you mentioned World Celebration.
Yes.
Which is basically what opened. I mean, realistically, World Celebration is what opened when they took down those walls.
Yes.
Maybe a little bit of other stuff, but
right.
So you also mentioned the Fountain of Nations.
Yes.
Which is, I was before we started the podcast, I was like, oh, we're going to talk about the new fountain too, and she's like, there is no new fountain, and then I looked closer and I was like, oh right, that's where the fountain should be.
That's where it should be. That's where
but it's just a planter.
That's where it essentially
I'm pretty sure that's where it was.
Yeah. And that's what I'm thinking is that's where it was. I have my handy map. For those of you who are interested, I do have my map that I only reference if I'm looking to see if something is on there or not. And
for those of us in the 21st century, I use my Disney Experience app to look at it, but
wow. Okay. Anyway, so the real reason that I got this map was because I'm sorry I'm making all this noise. For those on the podcast, I'm so sorry, but it has figments.
I figured that was the case.
That's the only reason I have the map. At any rate, there's no fountain there. I think,
which is kind of lame.
I think it should be. There should be a fountain there, but I think also
especially
it's the nostalgia because that's what you kids grew up with, you know. So
yeah, but I'm saying like it's the World Celebration.
Right.
Should we not have the Fountain of Nations?
Right. And do you remember what the Fountain of
Celebrating the
Nations,
world.
what was so special about the Fountain of Nations? Do you remember?
There were several things. No, I don't know which one you're referring to.
Okay.
It was it was in sync with why can't I think of the name? Hold on, I wrote it down somewhere. It was in sync with Illuminations, wasn't it? Or is that not the thing you're talking about?
No.
Okay, go ahead.
So the fountain, the water in the fountain itself was made up. So there's 11 countries in World Showcase, and they brought in water from each of those countries, and that's the water that they used in the Fountain of Nations.
Right.
It was literally made up of the waters of the nations.
Which is like, come on, guys. Just put it back. But whatever. The planter's fine, I guess.
Right.
So I think there should be a planter, a fountain there. The Fountain of Nations in the center of World Celebration just makes sense to me. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I don't get that.
There's a lot of architecturally nice things in Celebration Plaza. I didn't get a whole lot of pictures of those, but I'll share those with you. But there's like these big, I don't even know what they are. Columns, I guess. I'll call them columns. That kind of come in towards the center. And then there's another one that's got 3 columns. And with that particular one, it's really cool because one of the biggest things that you have a hard time with in EPCOT is A, it's a huge place and you get tired of walking very easily. And B, there's very few places to sit and just chill.
Right.
And so right there in Celebration Plaza, and I did take pictures of these, there are a variety of different places that you can sit as a group, almost like dining tables. There's also some Adirondack type chairs that you can sit at. There's best thing, there are charging ports in this area too. I mean, that's a whole nother thing that you have issues with when you're walking around Epcot because A, it's so big, B, there's no place to sit, and C, now you got to charge your phone because you've been walking around for 15 miles, right?
Right.
And so there's a lot of cool things that they've integrated, which is really, really cool.
Nice. Sort of off topic, but sort of on topic with the whole charging thing. I can't, and maybe it's because I didn't use fuel rods when I went to Disney World last, but when I went to Disneyland, I got wise to it and I started using fuel rods. How many fuel rod stations are there in Epcot?
So this is really funny because the fuel rods that we change out, so Dad and I change out, we have 2 that we change them out every single time we go. We exchange them for new fuel rods, whether we use them or not, because I also have another power pack that I take.
Right.
And
smart idea.
So we've had those, I think, I want to say we got those in either 2010 or maybe even 2009, somewhere in there, or 2016. At any rate, we have been exchanging fuel rods since 2009, 2010, 2016, somewhere in there. And we continue to do that. It's one-time purchase, $30, and that to me has been worth it. So, but to answer your question of as far as where the fuel rod stations are, you have a hard time not finding a fuel rod station. Like every time you turn around, oh, there's a fuel rod station. For example, in the Land by Garden Grill, there's a fuel rod station. When you go to, I think it's the Disney Traders. So there's Port of Entry is one shop when you come to the World Showcase, and Port of Entry is on the right, and then on the left is, I think it's called Disney Traders. There's a fuel rod station in there as well. There's fuel rod stations as you go around the World Showcase Lagoon, and so it's relatively easy. They're also in Creation Shop, so they're relatively easy to find.
So those charging points. I mean, if you don't want to buy into the fuel rod system, the charging points in World Celebration Plaza would be useful.
That's true. Yes.
And
they have outlets and
guy,
USB.
So.
They have outlets and
that's
USB,
nice.
so it's kind of nice. Yeah.
Oh, I like it. Right on. The next thing I wanted to talk about, because I remember going to Epcot when I was young.
Yeah.
And especially at night. I feel like it was kind of rare for us to leave Epcot out of the front of the park. We usually left from the
International Gateway.
International Gateway, yeah. But when we would exit through the front of the park, I remember walking by Spaceship Earth after Illuminations, and the ground was like sparkly, you know? It had the lights in the ground. And I understand that those lights are back in a new reincarnated fashion.
Yes. Oh my gosh. And it's so cool. It's to kind of, I guess, unfortunately, dissolve the theory that it could be what it once was. It is not.
Right.
So I do have pictures of this as well, but they're like, you can tell they're lights, first of all. It's not like before. Before it looked like, oh my gosh, am I seeing a light or is that a glare? What am I looking at, right? And
right.
that's not what they are. You can definitely tell that they're lights, and they light up from underneath, and there's dozens of them all over that Celebration Plaza area. And what they do is on Spaceship Earth, they now have like a musical light show kind of thing. So they'll play music and then they'll have the colors that change and stuff. And on Celebration Plaza, those lights that are in the sidewalk, in the walkways, they also are this change colors and stuff in sync with what's on Spaceship Earth. So that's very cool. And the whole, I think it's either the new Epcot logo with the, I don't even know if I have that.
The circles.
The circles. I don't see it in here, so I'm not sure where it is, but yeah, it's that funky. It's all the circles intertwined or whatever, and
it's under the planter.
Yeah, that's exactly where it is, and and so that's really cool because it's kind of getting your mind off of like what's going on up here, and now you're looking down here, because you can't just look in one area at Epcot, especially at night. At night, there's so much going on, and not just watching the people in front of you so you don't run into them as we're all, 10,000 of us leaving, or 100,000 of us, whatever, leaving the park at the same time. It's different. But it's very interesting to see how it all works, how they went about syncing everything, and it just makes it a little bit more fun, because you're like watching this and then you're like, oh my gosh, it's doing the same thing up there, or you're watching that and you're like, oh my gosh. And so we did miss a little bit of it the first time because we didn't pay attention to the fact that it was doing the same thing on the lights on the ground. Sure. So yeah,
nice, right on. Well, that was the thing I always thought was cool, so I just like wanted to see what the feeling was now. So that's super cool.
Yeah, it's like next gen lights.
Which makes sense, because the old lights, Epcot was the Spaceship Earth was only like, I don't even remember if they had projection mapping on it.
No, they didn't. That's all new.
So it was literally just the spotlights that they shined on it from the ground.
Yeah, that's exactly
and
it.
So there was no cohesive thing happening. So it's really cool that they've tied what you're looking at in front of you to when you look at the ground to make sure you don't trip, you're seeing the same thing. It makes sense. Yeah.
Right. Yep.
So that's cool.
Yeah.
And then I wanted to ask what you think of my favorite thing that they've added, the thing I'm most excited to see out of everything in Epcot right now, the thing I'm most excited to see next time I go, the Walt the Dreamer statue.
Yes.
Which you're telling me is not called that?
I'm sorry. I think it's called Waiting on Walt.
Okay.
I think that's what it's called. I'm pretty sure, because I thought it was Walt the Dreamer too.
Because there's a huge line.
It could be.
Maybe
you know what though?
Renamed it.
I was so focused when we got there. By the way, we left at like 5:30 in the morning to drive down there. We lived 2 hours. We live 2 hours north of Disney, and so we left at like 5:30, maybe 6 o'clock in the morning. We got there at like 8:30, and there wasn't really too much of a wait, because they open. Dad does get a scooter because his knees are bothering him. He needs to do something with those. But anyway, the scooters get to go out a little bit, like 5 minutes before everybody else. And so we ended up going right to Celebration Plaza. And I don't understand it, but nobody was over there. Even the early guests, because if you stay on property, you get to go in early entry guests.
Right.
And nobody was over there. And it was just really weird. And I think there was one couple ahead of us. That was it. And I was like, I want to get my picture with Walt. I got to get my picture with Walt. And so I really liked that. I also did another picture where it looks like he's kind of just listening. And so I did a picture where it looks like I'm talking to him and I'm trying to talk to him about like my some of my goals and like what I can imagine doing and stuff like that. So it was really cool. It was really
super cool. Well, I'm really excited to see that.
Yes.
I mean,
it's amazing.
There's this partnership. What is it called? What is the statue? In
the partner statue.
Called the partner statue. I thought it's okay.
Yeah.
That one's super cool, right? But you can't go to it. So that's why I'm so excited about the waiting on Walt statue.
Right.
Because I can actually sit next to him and I'll have a new profile picture.
Yeah.
Whenever that happens. Cool. Yeah. So that pretty much covers, I think, World Celebration and its new opening. You'd have to tell me for sure, but I don't really think there's much else over there that's necessarily noteworthy, aside from just they have some nice landscaping. It's probably pretty.
Yeah, it is. They have like their manhole covers, and I don't remember this being a thing before, but the manhole covers are the geodesic. Is that the right word?
Yeah.
Okay, I used the right word. They're geodesic, so they look like Spaceship Earth, and so they have that like texture and stuff in them. So that was kind of. It's just a little thing, but even little things are big.
That's what I love about Disney.
Yep, and then
even the little things.
They have this, and I don't know what's going to be on the other side of the wall, but there's a wall, and then there's on the sidewalk. It looks like the walkway. It's not even a sidewalk. The walkway looks like Spaceship Earth as well, except for it's not. It's like a 2-dimensional thing, so it's all flat.
Right.
But
that's cool.
Yeah, so it is.
I'm into it.
It's just even the little things are just huge. I can't wait to see what Communicore Hall and Plaza are going to be like, and how
me too. They
work together with Celebration Plaza. But
hopefully it's not just a Starbucks.
Oh gosh, no.
Two Starbucks too close together, but for some reason I wouldn't put it past them.
So I don't have a problem with the Starbucks because it's over in Connections Cafe.
Right.
But everywhere else around is Joffrey's Coffee.
Right. That's so funny to me.
It is to me too.
We have competing coffee brands.
Let's just put them both in there. Yeah.
Yeah. So it'd be like having Pepsi and Coke options, but like,
right.
I'm happy with the fact that it's just Coke, to be honest.
Right.
Cool. So yeah, that's the new World Celebration. So we're going to move on to your favorite topic, I think. Festivals. We're going to be talking specifically about Festival of the Arts because that is happening now until February 19th. What did you say, 19th?
Yes, 19th.
Awesome. So if anyone listening to the podcast is going to Disney soon, you'll have a chance to go check it out.
Yes.
If you're not, well then for February we've got you covered. But we'll get there. So first thing first on the Festival of the Arts. I didn't put them in the right order, I don't think, but
okay. Let me look.
I don't know which.
Whatever you want to do, you decide.
Let's do activities first. So, you were telling me earlier there's like some activities for the youngins and
yes,
a little bit more hands-on stuff than just watching.
Yeah.
Parents.
Yeah. So
I guess
there's mostly, I think it's on, I don't know what that area is called, but the walkway that goes essentially from like Creation Shop out to the World Showcase, whatever that, I don't know what that bridge is called.
Yeah,
Whatever it's called. I don't
I know
even
it
think
has a name. I
I
just can't
know.
remember.
I can't remember either. But
Oh well.
they actually have chalk artists that come, and they have to be invited, which is bizarre, but it's cool. And they get to do all these chalk drawings, and so, but you can't touch them. And for kids to say, "Oh, you can look at that, but don't touch it," and it's sidewalk chalk,
Yeah, that's not gonna work.
I feel like that's an oxymoron because they're gonna want to touch it. And so what they
Yeah.
did was they created an area where kids can actually go and do their own chalk drawings and stuff. And they have like templates, so they can put the template down and they can rub the chalk drawing around it, and it'll make whatever, and whatever character or whatever. So that's kind of fun. Across from that, they have these, I don't want to call them frames necessarily. They're not frames, but like a walkthrough frame. And so they have Sleeping Beauty. And so it's the owl with the prince's coat. And it's like 3-dimensional. So you like walk through and it looks like you're kind of in there. And they're just photo ops, but it's a fun thing to do. And then they have a Mary Poppins one, and then they have a Wish backdrop. And those are all pretty cool.
Okay.
And of course, whether it's festivals or not, there's always KidCot, which is activities for kids to do at the different countries. And it could be, from coloring or getting their name written in that country's language or whatever. But that's kind of an all the time thing. So they're looking for more ways to incorporate activity with kids, because splash pads are not the only thing that kids are going to want to do. It helps, especially in the 80, 90, and potentially 100-degree weather. But like when we went, I think the high was 52 or 54. And in Florida, that's cold. So
I know there's not a whole lot of activities, but aside from, KidCot's always been fun. I remember doing that when I was really young, I guess.
yeah.
I guess I did it when I wasn't so really young.
Yeah.
Is it still Duffy? Or is
That's
it less character based?
That's a good question. I think it's less character based.
Okay, because I remember it was for sure. It was like at one point it was like you got a little paper Duffy.
Yes, on a
and you
stick.
took him around and got little like stickers from every country or something to put on his denim jacket.
Yeah.
That was probably 30 years ago.
No, it wasn't 30 years ago.
Couldn't have been, but
Caleb used to do it. Caleb and Lauren used to do it too.
15 sounds more reasonable.
Yeah, doesn't it? I think that's probably accurate. 15 years ago. Yeah. So they're always looking for stuff. They have garden play areas and stuff like that. So that's pretty cool. And they have areas where they're looking to improve the ability for kids to kind of get out their restless energy. So that's always a good thing. So
nice.
Yeah.
So one of the things you had mentioned was the chalk artists being invited.
Yeah.
And so I know that they don't just invite chalk artists. So did you get a chance to see any of the other artists' work that they invited?
Yeah. There's so much, and it seems like there's artist booths everywhere. And there's not, but that's what it seems like. There's a lot of booths. And so there was a guy that did like the acrylic pouring, but there was something along with it, and I can't remember exactly what it was. But it was like beyond the pour. And there was a gentleman who did metal work, and he was basically paid to I can't think of the word. Anyway, he was commissioned to do particular works and stuff. And so like he had an Olaf, and it was metal, and it was like, I don't know, probably half as big as me. It was huge. And Mickey and Minnie, of course, and different things like that. It was really cool. And then of course they have different countries that have their art. And so that's really neat. And I can't remember all of the things. There's so much to see. And so if you are interested in like any kind of art, they also have like visual arts, and they have like musical arts. For example, they have at the American Pavilion, what is it? The American Garden Theater, or
I think so. Yeah.
what,
Something similar
whatever
to
it's
that,
called.
if not that.
And they have like Disney on Broadway, and so they invite Broadway artists that have been doing the Disney shows to come and perform some of their songs and stuff at those at the Festival of the Arts. So that's pretty cool. But they have like anything you can imagine that has to do with art is what they have. So they have culinary arts, they have visual arts, they have musical arts, they have, I can't even think, but just so much. So it's pretty
Nice.
cool. And they invite like I said, they invite these artists to come and they commission them for certain pieces. And yeah, so that's kind of cool. And it's really interesting to see the mediums that these artists have chosen to work with and stuff. And so there's a huge variety of media. So it's pretty cool.
Nice. Awesome. I would just like to, this is totally random, but I would like to point out, mediums isn't a word.
Media.
Media is the plural. That's probably the only thing I remember learning in college.
That's right. That's right.
Anyway,
It's okay.
Awesome.
It's okay.
So that's cool. Arts is cool. So
Yeah.
that's one of the things I would love to be able to go in January sometime, because I would like to go check out the Festival of the Arts. It's
Yeah, well, and it doesn't.
I get to do.
It doesn't start. I mean, usually it starts mid-January, and then it goes. It's actually, and we'll talk about that another time. But it is actually the shortest festival that they have at
Right, because it's
at
just
EPCOT.
over a month, if not just
Yeah.
under a month.
Yeah, exactly,
Right.
exactly. Mm-hmm.
But along with any festival, there is always food.
Yes.
So tell me a little bit about your experience with the food. I know you sent me some pictures of some pretty yummy looking stuff.
Yeah, so I'm going to use my little booklet because there was so much stuff. So we'll talk about this another time too, but there's a passport that you get at each of the festivals, at each of the festivals. And in the back of the passport, there is usually like I don't know if it's a challenge or I don't know what it's called specifically. This one is called Wonderful Walk of Colorful Cuisine. And you go around and you buy certain treats that are listed in the passport, and you get a stamp for them. And then once you get your 5 stamps, then you get to collect a completer reward. And so, and I'm just going to read you some of these things because we got all of them except for the roasted beets.
Well, understandably so.
I apologize if you love beets, but we did not like beets. So there's
That's okay. I don't think Dwight Schrute listens to the podcast.
there's at Deconstructed Dish, there's deconstructed key lime pie.
That looked really
so
good.
good.
I'm a sucker for key lime pie anyway.
Right. There's
Especially Granny Jan.
Neapolitan.
Sorry, I'll just throw that out there because I know she's listening.
Yes, she will definitely be listening. There's Neapolitan Dessert Trio. So it had like a chocolate, vanilla, and strawberry colored moussey, desserty thingy. I don't know. It was all good. It was all good.
Okay.
It was so good. The chorizo and potato empanada. Is it empanada? We'll have to get specific.
I think it's
on
an
that.
empanada.
And then this was one of my favorites. I saved this one and one more for last because they were so good. This one was the blueberry filled pastry tart with purple icing. It was so
That
good.
Sounds tasty.
It's almost like a toaster strudel meets a Pop-Tart, but it was huge and it was so yummy and so yummy.
It looked good.
Yes. And then
Everything
the
looked
last thing was the tomato soup. And tomato soup, you might just be like, oh, it's tomato soup, whatever. It was tomato soup and half a grilled cheese sandwich, which is what I got. And then Dad got the tomato soup with
The other half of the grilled cheese
pimento.
sandwich?
No, pimento.
God only knows where that went.
And cheese. Pimento and cheese, whatever, and
I think
bacon,
pimento is a type of cheese,
and fried green tomato. That was all in the grilled cheese that he got. And like, I'm not kidding. When you go and do these little challenges on the back of these passports, like, you don't have to eat except for that if you don't want to. So, and one of the things that I thought was really cute is the tomato soup came in this little can and it says Pop Eats, and that was the name of the like restaurant, whatever, the food place that you got the tomato soup from. And it's not a can. It looks like a can, but it's not. It's totally plastic. And it was so cool.
Still cool.
Yeah.
Still cool.
And I did forget one other thing. I was going to bring another visual, but I forgot it. It's in the fridge. But you get a completer cookie, just like you do for the cookie stroll and at Christmas time. But then you also get this was a mixed berry smoothie. And it was grape and strawberry, and I can't remember what pineapple, and I can't remember what else. And it was so good. And then you get this little collector's cup, and it's like so adorable. I love how they have these little completer things, and you get like something to take home, something tangible to take home. So these are my two favorites from that. It's all that I got, but it's okay. And
right.
I mean, just a little bonus.
That's not all you got. That's not all you got.
That's not all I got.
That's our next topic.
Oh, is it? Okay,
and
cool.
that is, with most festivals, I think, maybe it's not festival specific, but I feel like with most festivals, they do introduce some kind of unique popcorn bucket.
They do. Oh,
and so...
Oh, I can't. I'm going to have to get... Okay. I can't reach it. Okay, there we go. So...
There we go.
This is the Figment popcorn bucket. I'm going to try and hold him so you can see him. I don't know. That might be a good angle. You can see him right in there.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
He's like right here by
me.
I
don't know if they can see him, but
I don't know. We'll see.
Hopefully one of the shots, one of the angles
we'll
you
take
got
a picture.
There will make it work.
The cool thing with this is, and I have no way to turn the lights off, but
that's okay.
The cool thing is it lights up. And so it just makes it a little bit more special.
I love it.
And it's got the EPCOT International. It just says EPCOT International. It's got Figment all over the strap. But it's like super cool. And you can take the strap off if you want.
Right. And just have it be a display piece.
Yeah.
Because it is the Imagination Pavilion.
Yes. Which
is so cool.
I did see someone on... I think it was TikTok or something, said that you can get like colored jewels, the plastic colored jewels, like you might find at Dollar Tree or something, and put them in the bottom. And there's also a USB, it looks like batteries, but it's wired. And it hooks to the USB port. And so you can basically leave it on all the time. And then it like glows, the whole thing glows. If you do that, as opposed to just the bottom of what's in there. There's nothing in the bottom. I don't know if we can see that. So there's nothing in there. It. So I might try that. We'll have to see what happens.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's awesome.
But yes, and Figment is my favorite character. So I was going to wear my Figment.
Is your other Figment popcorn bucket right there?
You mean this one?
That's the one.
Yes.
Was that for last year's Festival of the Arts, or was that just 40th anniversary?
This was for the 40th anniversary celebration.
Okay.
Yeah.
Super cool.
Yep.
Now you have 2 Figment popcorn buckets.
I do. I don't know if I need 2 Figment popcorn buckets because, I don't know. Like I don't know. I'd be afraid that somebody would try and steal these guys. Like when we got the other ones.
I doubt it.
When we got the new ones, like I went and put them back in the truck because I was afraid I would either lose it, break it, or somebody would take it.
I mean, better safe than sorry, I suppose.
So, I don't know.
That's awesome.
Like, I don't know. But Figment's my favorite, so.
Yeah.
And
I love that.
he has been, he has only recently come into his own. Like, I don't know, maybe 5 or 10 years ago, he wasn't, it was like
I wouldn't
Figment,
even,
whatever.
I wouldn't even say that long ago, like a couple of years ago.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't even think most people would have thought twice about Figment.
Right.
Which is why I chuckled when you said you thought someone might steal it. I'm like, I don't know if anyone cares as much about Figment as you do, to be honest.
You would be so surprised.
terrible
I mean, like, I thought I loved Figment stuff and all that, and there's these people with Loungeflies that I've never even seen before, and they're Figment, and I'm where'd you get that? They have Flower and Garden Festival Loungeflies. Loungeflies are bags, by the way, and they're mini backpacks, and
super convenient
they're
to have.
very adorable. And
sunscreen, umbrella, water. That's what you put in there. And your fuel rods. And your moleskin.
I have moleskin drink packets, little, what are they called? Little pouches, whatever, of peanut butter, just in case I need something and I can't get to a snack, because sometimes those snack lines are incredible. And I have my any kind of like allergy meds or Tylenol that I might need. And then I have my EpiPen. And then I have my wallet. And I bring a poncho that I've had, I'm pretty darn sure, since 2009. And then I have my sunglasses, my readers because I can't see, and my water bottle.
There you go.
Those are all the things you need to take.
I kind of want to start a series called like Noah's Declassified Disney Survival Guide.
Yes, absolutely.
That'd be kind of fun to do. Maybe we can do that when we're not sure what to do for our Disney episode. We could.
I like it. That's a great idea.
But in the meantime, we're gonna leave the festival behind for the time being.
Okay.
So we can fast forward on and talk briefly, because I don't think there's really a whole lot to talk about here, but I just have a couple of questions that I wanted to ask.
Sure.
And that is Luminous, the Symphony of Us.
Yes.
Which is the new nighttime fireworks show in EPCOT that has ultimately replaced Illuminations, but more recently, I suppose it replaced
Harmonious.
I couldn't even think of the name. That's how little I cared about that show, which I'm sorry, but
sorry, not
so I know
sorry.
you didn't. Yeah, for real. So I know you didn't get to stay for the whole thing.
We did actually stay for the whole
thing.
thing.
Oh, did you end up staying for the whole thing?
Yeah.
Oh, well, there you go.
It ended up not being as cold as we thought it was, but
that's good. Awesome. So what was it like? What were your initial thoughts?
So, first of all, I purposely did not watch any previous YouTube videos regarding the show because I wanted a genuine blind reaction of the show itself. I tried not to take too many pictures. I did take some video and pictures, but I wanted it to be genuine, and I didn't care for Harmonious. And I thought it was terrible. Yeah, the barges were huge. They were in the way. It blocked.
You couldn't just sit anywhere.
You couldn't just sit anywhere. You could not.
That's what I didn't
did
like
that about Illuminations, of course.
Yes.
And Luminous was very similar. Now, I could just tell from the way the barges were that you really could sit anywhere and you could see the same show. It's not like it was different over here or different over there. And of course, like you said, that was like our family tradition was to go sit by what pillar? Pillar number,
I don't know, 9?
7. Outside the Germany Pavilion.
I knew where it was. I just couldn't remember what number it was.
Yeah. Outside the Germany Pavilion. That was like where we sat.
Always by John.
And his
dad had to have his Bavarian pretzel in his beer.
That's right. And we did not make it over there for his pretzel. So
yeah, well, next time.
It's okay. I mean, it's not like we don't live here. So
right.
So it really wasn't sure what to expect, and it wasn't like Illuminations. So Illuminations, everything gets quiet, and then they're like, and the lights all go off. And so that aspect was similar. And and then like you could tell something was going to happen, so I did start recording, and then it was very similar sort of to the start of Illuminations, where it was like it starts off with talking and consider this, and it was just lulling you, and you're like, what's going to happen? And then all of a sudden fireworks.
Okay.
And so that was kind of
Nice.
cool. They use such bright colors. That was really, I really enjoyed that. And then it kind of intertwined the what I'll call laser lights with fireworks with water, sort of like they do in Phantasmic, where they can project
Okay.
a little bit, but there's water, and so all those elements are working together. And then they also have music. They had some, it was so nice because they had some aspects of previous shows that they did. So there was something called Tapestry of Dreams from
Right.
the early 2000s that precluded the Illuminations show. And so
Yeah.
it was a kind of parade type thing that went around the World Showcase. And so they had some songs from that, and then bits and pieces. And then they had some kind of the Will Go On song from Illuminations. I know.
Oh, that one gives me
I love that
goosebumps. I don't know if they could see that in
Yes,
the camera, but I
I
get
see.
goosebumps
I
from
see.
that.
Yeah. So that
I
was
love that
really
show
cool.
so much.
I know. I don't know that I know that they're trying to there's to some extent there has to be an evolution of growth that happens with even the nighttime shows and stuff. And so
Sure.
even though Illuminations, believe it or don't, was only around for like 10 years,
Long
20
enough.
years.
That makes sense.
20 years. Sorry, 20 years. 1999 to 2019, right? Yeah, so I think it's
Sure.
20 years. And
Yeah.
so even though it was around for 20 years, like I feel like it impacted people in such a way that they just can't let go. And I was trying so hard to embrace that
Right.
it's an evolution of that in a good way.
Right.
And so I'll tell you one of the things I did not like, unfortunately. It's only 17 minutes long.
Oh, see, that's pretty short. Well,
It's
one of those things
short.
where
It
short.
is short because Illuminations was like half an hour.
Right. But it's one of those things where it's like it kind of makes sense, but also it kind of sucks.
Right?
But
Now,
it's a lot
in
of pyro.
in 39 degree weather that night, I didn't
I
mind
bet 17
so
minutes
much.
was awesome.
It was great.
Yeah.
It was great. I was
Yeah.
a little bummed, like I said, though, that it was only that short. Oh, and it's so cool too because we have the Magic Band Plus for our Magic Bands, and so they had when the fireworks were going off. It wasn't for everything, but when the fireworks were going off, and they had dancing colored laser light things. Then there would be the is it called haptic? The haptic
Yeah.
vibrations on the
Yeah.
Magic Bands, and then so it gets your attention to look at it. And when you look at it, whatever lights are on the barges are also on the Magic Band Plus. So that
That's
was
super
pretty
cool.
cool. Kind of made that interactive and stuff. And I love everything that's interactive.
So now we'll make sure I pack the Magic Band Plus when I go because it wasn't something I was sure I was. Well, my little collection of Magic Bands pretty much goes with me every time I go to Disney World.
Just
so
in case.
Maybe it would have, but yeah. I don't know that I would have worn it that day.
Right? You should
Yeah,
always
because-
bring it.
Yeah. I mean, the only thing that I know it's good for, like, is the bounty hunting on Batuu in Galaxy's Edge.
Well, they also
That's
have
about
something
all I know
similar
it's
at
good for.
EPCOT as well. And I don't
do
know
they?
what that is. I don't do it, but and then what it also did, they don't spoiler alert, they don't talk anymore, but whenever you are on a ride, it will light up blue. Your Magic Band Plus will light up blue. And then also, if you go past one of the gold statues, it will light up blue and have that haptic response where it vibrates. And so that's kind of cool because
neat.
yeah, because then it's like, why did it vibrate? And then you start looking around like, why is it vibrating? Oh, aha. Because I'm
That's
next
cool.
to the Figment statue, of course.
But forces you to look at things.
It does. It forces you to look at things because too many times we're
like
walking
that.
around don't get me wrong, we're walking around with the phone, but are we texting? Are we Facebook messaging? Or are we actually on the Disney app looking at the wait times instead of looking at what we're there for? You know? And I think, by the way, Dad and I only went on 2 rides.
Nice.
We were there to look and enjoy, and that was the beauty of being there. So we really liked it. But anyway, there you go.
Awesome. So a little bit of a rabbit trail there about Magic Band Plus, but that's
okay.
Whatever. It's fine. So the other question I wanted to ask you about Luminous, and this one should be pretty short and simple. But like you said, and I said, I guess earlier, Illuminations Reflections of Earth was whenever we were there. If we were at Epcot for the day, we stayed until Illuminations was over as a family. That was the thing we did. We sat in front of Germany, in front of Pillar 7 or whatever.
Yes.
I didn't remember that detail specifically, but that was always the thing that we did. That was like, I don't want to say a tradition, but kind of a Epcot tradition. We watched Illuminations once at least while we were there.
Yes.
Do you think that Luminous will follow suit whenever we get the whole family down there again, if ever?
That's a good question. That's a really good question. I think so. I think you will like it to see it the first time. But I think that Caleb, being a traditionalist when it comes to things Disney, he still he'll think it was good, but it was not on the same level as Illuminations. And
fair enough.
To some extent, he's correct. You know.
Yeah.
It's not as long. It doesn't have. I don't know. I don't know what it was with Illuminations, aside from the fact, like you said, that we went to it and watched it every time. So I don't know. I don't know.
So maybe. Solid maybe.
For some of you, yes, it will be. Okay. It will be a yes. We have to see this every time. For others, I think it'll be
a one and done kind of situation.
Yeah, one and done, or it's only 17 minutes. We can sit through it. I'm not sure if it'll be like that. We have to, kind of we got used to sitting there and being like, I know it's cold. Here's the blanket. Bundle up. Sit together. 3 of you in a stroller and cuddle up. But whatever.
Right.
I don't know that it's going to get that way. I would love to see it again.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure if it's warmer. I'll go see it again.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Right on. Well, that about sorts us out, I think, for our discussion of Epcot's newest stuff today. So yeah, I'll just. Do you have any closing or anything final you want to say? Not penultimate. Any overall statements about the state of Epcot right now, I suppose.
So I think that overall, Walt Disney World as a whole is making that comeback from when we closed down because of the virus. And I think that everything is kind of coming back on track for the changes and the new additions and the growth that is taking place. And so I really think that we need to look at what's changing, not how much time it's taking to change, and realize that that's exactly what Walt wanted as well. If we wanted to just do something, or Walt wanted to do something that was just thrown together, or it was just Disneyland, but in Florida, he would not have spent all the time that he did to invest in the Imagineering of Walt Disney World as a whole. And so I think that's what we need to remember, is to be patient with the changes that are coming, not get upset with them necessarily, but see how those changes are changing to meet how the world is changing as well, in a good way, and how it's also carrying on Walt's overall message, which was to imagine and dream and keep growing. So those are my things. I think those are the really important takeaways with all things Disney.
Right on. That was beautifully said.
Thank you.
Right on. Well, that sorts that. So I just wanted to give some closing housekeeping things, like I try to do at the end of every episode, and I realized as I'm editing that I did not. But yeah, you can follow the podcast on Instagram and TikTok at Noah Parker's World of Wonder. You can also go to youtube.com/Noah Parker_channel to catch the video version of the podcast if you are listening. And if you're watching on YouTube and you want an audio only option, we are on all major podcast platforms. In the description down below, and on whether you're listening or watching, we do have a link tree that you can go to find direct links to all of the platforms that we're on, as well as the TikTok and the Instagram page. But yeah, whether you're watching or listening, make sure you like and subscribe, or you rate and review, and share it with your friends and family. We've been getting some decent traction over the last couple of weeks, and so thank all of you guys who are helping out with that and enjoying and sharing with your friends. Keep doing it. Keep pushing. I'm really enjoying this, and it'd be a dream come true to do this full time. But I'm patient, and I'll wait. If it happens, it happens. So next week we have a special guest, a first-time guest, whose topic is yet to be determined, but we'll figure that out before it becomes necessary. And until then, guys, let the wonder take hold.